When you think back to our time in Brooklyn, what do you think of?
I had just signed that deal. You had just signed the deal. But I feel like we were secure, but everything else around us was going to and not in a bad way. We got GMs going to other teams. We got coaches going to other teams. We got players forcing trades. We got bringing Ben Simmons. He's back. Like, it was just so much. I had just signed that deal. You had just signed the deal.
Clarity here, all right?
But I feel like we were secure, but everything else around us was going to.
So when he says,
not in a bad way. We got.
And it's obviously, again, I didn't take this personally.
Everything else around us was.
So when he says this, I'm not taking that personally. It was a lot going on around all of us, right? But how Steve ended up becoming our head coach, I'll let Kay answer that, right, when he's ready. But I already had my own thoughts on how the coaching situation was going to go, right?
You think you know what really blew up the Brooklyn Nets super team? Think again. Kyrie Irving just dropped the most honest, raw breakdown yet of what actually went down behind closed doors, and it's way messier than anyone ever admitted. Coaches low-key refusing to work together, mental breakdowns nobody saw coming, and betrayals that happened almost overnight.
We're one of the most watched teams now because we have all-stars, MVPs on the team. We are in New York City, in the media capital of the world. You just got to walk a little bit different. And I wasn't ready to walk that walk, and I don't know if I can't speak for them, but there was a lot going on, just not within the team, but just Brooklyn in general, the Nets.
Going to.
You know, I didn't feel like it was going to shit, but I felt like there was just a lot of structural change happening that was very quick, and he's coming off an Achilles tear. You know what I'm saying?
This wasn't the story the media fed you. What really happened when the most hyped super team in NBA history collapsed right in front of us is something you need to hear. It all started when Brooklyn landed Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, two of the most gifted players in the league at the time. The vision sounded clean and simple: put Brooklyn on the map, win championships, and build something New York had never seen. Kyrie was the main one pushing the move. He went straight to KD saying, "Let's lock in. Let's really do this," because, as he put it, nobody was even thinking about Brooklyn. KD bought into it. They signed max deals, committed long-term, and believed they were about to create something special.
How Steve ended up becoming our head coach, I'll let Kay answer that, right, when he's ready. But I already had my own thoughts on how the coaching situation was going to go, right? I felt like there were other candidates out there that could have definitely been our head coach that had championship experience. I think Steve had championship experience in his own way, in his role that he played in Golden State. But in terms of being a head coach, I had my own thoughts, right? And I'll get into that later in my documentary, but I'm just saying I had my own thoughts. And when Steve became our head coach, he even admitted to me that he had his own reserves on coaching me, and I had my reserves on him being coached by him. So we had already hashed that out, but I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like, yeah, it was all easy around just everything in Brooklyn.
The hype around this team was unreal. Two superstars in their prime, in the media capital of the world with endless resources and a fan base starving for a title. People swore this was about to be the next Warriors-level dynasty. But here's where it flips. Kyrie just revealed something nobody knew before, and it changes everything from day one. Tension was already building behind the scenes, especially with the coaching situation. Steve Nash got hired as head coach, and most people called it a perfect fit. Hall of Fame player, sharp basketball brain, respected across the league. On paper, it looked clean.
I take my accountability for not being in the greatest space mentally, physically, emotionally, you know? So I didn't know how to even express that to them at the time. Like, yo, that's how I was feeling, this is what I'm dealing with. It was just kind of like me, isolated, being recluse, like, y'all don't really understand what's going on. So
we got GMs going to other teams. We got coaches going to other teams.
Yep, and he's talking about coaches going to the team. Ime Udoka literally went to the Boston Celtics after coaching with us. That was crazy, bro.
But Kyrie later admitted something that caught everyone off guard. He had real doubts about Nash from the jump. There were other coaching candidates with actual championship experience as head coaches, not just former players with good vibes. Kyrie felt those guys might have been better options when real pressure hit. Yeah, Nash won titles with Golden State, but that was as an assistant, not as the one making the final calls when everything was on the line. Here's where it gets wild. Nash straight up told Kyrie he had doubts about coaching him, and Kyrie admitted he wasn't sure about being coached by Nash either. The coach questioned his star player. The star player questioned the coach. They talked it out before the season even started. Let that sink in. You're trying to build a championship squad, and the connection between your head coach and point guard already has cracks before a single game is played.
Can you imagine going against the coach that literally saw all of our strengths and weaknesses, and now we're playing against them? You know what I'm saying? So Boston was ready for us. Ime had them ready, had the Celtics ready, dog. When we played them in the 2022 playoffs, shit got wild. Shit got wild, y'all. For sure, shit got wild. So we had a lot going on. Katie is right. That's what I'm saying. When I said I'm gonna address this on stream, it literally was just about doing this and having fun with it and letting people know.
That's shaky ground. Still, everything felt smooth on the surface in Brooklyn.
We cared enough. I felt like every day we were trying to push towards winning the champ. It was a great vibe in there. It's some of the best times. That first year, that's why I signed that deal.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm glad that he said this, is because that first year that we were all together was really special. It was really special. We had veterans, we had young guys, we literally breezed through the regular season.
Kyrie backed Nash anyway, and here's why it mattered. Steve was KD's guy, his pick, and Kyrie, seeing himself as the younger partner in this duo, said he'd stand behind that decision no matter what. This is your guy. Cool, you want him? Cool, I love Steve. That was Kyrie's mindset. Loyalty to his teammates' vision mattered more than his own doubts, and that part never made headlines. It showed Kyrie was really trying to make this thing work, even when his gut wasn't fully sold. And that's when the chaos really kicked in. The super team finally comes together, expectations go through the roof, and suddenly everything around them starts cracking from every direction. Coaches start leaving, front office execs start bouncing, players start forcing exits. It felt like watching a building collapse in slow motion.
Players forcing trades. We got bringing Ben Simmons. He's back. Like, it was.
All right, so I'm not gonna lie to you. So when we traded James for Ben, right? That whole Nets Big Three era. By the way, Nets World, you probably won't give me any credit, but Nets World, that's definitely something that I came up with, but it's okay. Nets World probably was existence before I came up with, that's fine too. But when I started calling it Nets World, everything like that started going up, all right? So when James got traded for Ben, I don't think we knew the landscape of where Ben was at, right? I don't think we knew where Ben was at. So when that trade happened, it shocked a lot of people. It shocked me. I was talking to James one day. I'm like, shit, bro, we about to go win these championships. And it was like a day later, asked for a trade. I was like, oh, shoot, okay.
The wild part, the foundation was Kyrie and KD, later Harden too, trying to hold everything together while the walls were falling down around them. Then came the first real gut punch. Ime Udoka, a key assistant coach, was working closely with the team. He knew the playbook. He studied their habits, their strengths, their weaknesses, all of it. And then boom, he leaves to become head coach of the Boston Celtics. And Boston wasn't just any team, same division. That meant the Nets had to see them multiple times every season.
But when that happened and we got Ben, a lot more pressure started to come in on our franchise, because now not only do we have this going on, but also we have a situation that Ben is dealing with where everybody is trying to micromanage the spun narrative. Like, he's doing this, he's doing that. So it wasn't a fair trade at the outset, right? It was not at all. I didn't feel like that was a fair trade. But at the same time, when it happened, he went to our division. He went to Philly. He went to Philly. So not only did we lose Ime Udoka, and then we lost one of our assistant GMs, but we lost James to Philly. So we're in the same division with our brothers. You know, and they know everything that we got going on. So when you spend a season or two with somebody, you're gonna know their habits, you're gonna know their strengths and weaknesses. You know, that, and I just I'm grateful that all of this stuff is just business, you guys. Basketball is not meant to be this harmful, violent, you know, like he said, she said type of eventful space, bro. This is not Love Island, y'all. This is not real world. This is not The Shore. This is the basketball of like the NBA drama space. Is not real drama, you guys. It's not. I'm here to tell you that. Now, it may seem like guys don't get along because guys may be misunderstanding people's moves or what they do, or, you know, something. Of course, some certain situations are different. They're serious. But I'm saying the basketball drama that's created, like, look at them going against each other. Look at them. It looks like they don't like each other. It's like, bro, in competition, if you're my brother and you were just with me, rocking with me, and we were supposed to win championships together, we had these higher expectations, of course I'm going to try to knock your block off. I'm human. You know what I'm saying? It's a business at the end of the day, but it's entertainment, dog. It's like NBA, maybe that equal, like that little equal sign to WWE sometimes, bro. Like, people get it messed up in their minds, be living out these characters and these nicknames. It's just not it. It's not it. I don't live like that.
Now their former coach knew everything about them. Kyrie said he was in straight disbelief. Imagine playing against a coach who knows all your strengths and weaknesses, he said. Losing a good coach hurt, but handing your entire playbook to a division rival, that hit different. Every tendency, every call, every weakness was going to come back around, especially once the 2022 playoffs showed up. And it didn't stop there. Assistant GMs started leaving. More coaches took jobs elsewhere. The organization was bleeding talent at every level except the locker room.
And I pray that one day, right, we all get to sit down, and I hope it's for my documentary, then we get to talk about this time more openly, because I think even as I watch Bron sit there, he knows that a lot of this stuff was happening, but also him being in LA, he had his own thing going too. So this is giving him clarity on what happened, but it's also coming from just KD and Steve, and there were a lot of parties involved in this. And some of the other parties that are involved probably won't ever speak on it, but you know, eventually I will.
Around the guys that were committed to the situation, I felt like we were committed, but everybody else wasn't. It just was weird.
See, this was the part where I honestly looked at it and I was like, when he said this, emotionally I was like, okay, we're all committed to the goal at the end of the day, but sometimes not everybody's gonna follow what you want them to do. I wish I had my soundboard for this, but like, not everybody's gonna do what you want them to do. And I've had to accept that as a human being and as a leader. Not everybody's gonna do what you want them to do. Not everybody's gonna be committed the way you want them to be committed, right? And it's not like Kay is asking me for this, but it's like, I asked for this commitment before I committed to Brooklyn from him, which was a beautiful thing. I'm like, yo, let's commit to this thing. We could build up Brooklyn. We could really put Brooklyn on the map. You know, nobody's really thinking about Brooklyn. But when he said that, I'm like, bro, Steve wasn't even in the play yet, but this is your man's. This is your man, so I gotta support that. This is your man's, cool. You want him, cool. You like Steve, I love Steve. You know what I'm saying? Cool.
Meanwhile, Kyrie, KD, and Harden stayed locked in. They were committed, ready to sacrifice everything, chasing that championship dream. Everyone around them looked like they were searching for the nearest exit. That created this awkward, tense vibe where the stars felt locked in with each other, but everything else felt shaky and unstable. Kyrie was dealing with something nobody saw coming. People only remember that insane 50-40-90 scenes. He was breaking down. Kyrie admitted it himself later. Family issues, personal struggles, mental health battles that hit all at once during that historic season. Mentally, physically, emotionally, he wasn't in a good place at all. And because he didn't know how to explain what he was going through, he shut down. He stopped showing up. Isolation became his escape. Pulling away felt easier than talking, and the media tore him apart for it. Everyone kept asking, where's Kyrie? What's going on? Why isn't he playing? But nobody knew he was dealing with real heavy personal issues. That part always gets skipped. The absences get remembered. The drama sticks. The headlines live forever. What people forget is the human being struggling without the tools or support to handle everything crashing down at once. Kyrie admits now he should have communicated better. He knows that, but in that moment he felt alone, like nobody would understand him anyway. So he pulled back, and it crushed him in the court of public opinion. And while all this was happening, the team started making moves that shocked everybody. While Kyrie was dealing with all that pressure, the team made a huge move. Karis LeVert and Jarrett Allen were traded away, young talent who had been part of Brooklyn's core for years. Then James Harden arrived, officially forming the Big Three. 3 MVP-level stars, all in their prime, all capable of taking over games whenever they wanted. On paper, it looked flawless. Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and Harden together were supposed to be unstoppable, and for a short window, they really were. When all 3 played, they went 13-3. They crushed teams and made it look way too easy. The offense was insane. You couldn't guard all 3 at once. Double one, and the other 2 would punish you every single time. This was the kind of basketball people dreamed about when they talked super team. For Kyrie, it was some of the most fun basketball he'd ever played in his life. Everything clicked. The chemistry was real. They coasted through the regular season, and everyone expected them to steamroll the playoffs. Then reality hit hard. Injuries showed up at the worst time. Kyrie went down. Harden was playing hurt. And in the playoffs against the Milwaukee Bucks, the moment that still haunts Brooklyn happened. KD hit what everyone thought was the game-winning 3, but his toe was barely on the line. Inches decided everything. It counted as a 2. Brooklyn lost in overtime. If that shot's a 3, the Nets probably win the series. And maybe we're talking about champions right now. Instead, the dream cracked right there. The next season is when it truly unraveled. Personal issues kept Kyrie away for stretches, and when he came back, the vibe was different. The energy felt off. Something was missing. Then came the moment that changed everything. Talking with Harden one day, Kyrie felt hopeful. He told him, "We're about to go get these championships, fully locked in, ready to run it back and finish what they started." That was the mindset. That was the belief, right before everything fell apart. One day after that conversation, everything flipped. One day they're talking rings. The very next day, James Harden asks out. Just like that. Kyrie admitted it shocked him, but what he said next showed real maturity. He later told Harden he understood the move completely. Put yourself in Harden's shoes for a second. Mid-season, uncertainty everywhere. You don't know what's going on with Kyrie. You don't know what the next chapter of your career looks like. You're a max contract guy trying to protect your future. Harden made a business decision. Kyrie got that. No anger, no bitterness. But yeah, it still hurt. And it wrecked the momentum they were building. Then came the trade that made everything worse. Brooklyn sent Harden to the Philadelphia 76ers for Ben Simmons. A former MVP gets flipped for a player who hadn't played in over a year and was dealing with his own mental health struggles and non-stop media pressure. Kyrie admitted it straight up. They didn't really know where Ben was at mentally or physically. The Nets didn't fully understand what situation they were walking into. From the jump, it wasn't balanced. And then another issue hit Brooklyn. Ime Udoka was already in Boston. Harden was now in Philly, same division. 2 rivals with inside knowledge, play calls, tendencies, defensive schemes. It was like handing out cheat codes to beat yourself. On top of that, Simmons brought even more attention, more pressure, more noise. What was supposed to be a championship chase turned into managing distractions every single day. By the time the 2022 playoffs arrived, everything Kyrie feared became reality. First-round matchup with the Boston Celtics, Udoka had them fully locked in, every set, every habit, every weakness already mapped out. Boston didn't just win, they dominated, and that's when the Brooklyn dream officially collapsed. Physical and intense is the only way to describe how that series played out in Brooklyn. They just couldn't overcome the mix of injuries, coaching issues, matchup disadvantages, and nonstop chaos surrounding the team. The season ended in pure disappointment, and by then, the cracks in the foundation were impossible to ignore. Looking back now, Kyrie Irving has a perspective that actually hits different. He says that first year was special. Everyone was committed, locked in, and honestly having the time of their lives. But he also admits the environment turned toxic fast. Too many distractions, too much happening all at once. Kyrie acknowledged that Steve Nash never really got a fair shot to coach the team the way he wanted. Nash was constantly stuck dealing with drama, media noise, and instability inside the organization. Kyrie straight up said they never got the full version of Steve Nash they needed. What really stands out is Kyrie not ducking responsibility. No excuses. He owns it. Being ready for the pressure of New York, the media capital of the world where every move gets dissected, wasn't something he was fully prepared for. And he admits that. He also says he should have handled his personal struggles differently. Better communication would have helped. But this wasn't just about him. That's the key point. Massive changes were happening behind the scenes. Coaches and staff leaving, players making business decisions, everything shifting while they were still chasing a title. And that's the part that gets lost in the hot takes. This was about real people trying to do something incredibly hard. Winning an NBA championship takes sacrifice, commitment, and stability. Brooklyn had the talent. What they didn't have was stability. Constant change, people leaving, new faces walking in, drama following them everywhere. That was the reality in Brooklyn. In the middle of all that chaos, you had three superstars trying to keep it together and make it work. That's where Kyrie Irving made his message crystal clear. Basketball drama isn't real drama. He even compared it to WWE-style storytelling. People get lost in characters and fake narratives, but at the end of the day, these are his brothers. Kevin Durant, James Harden, their families, their futures, that stuff actually matters to him. On the court, yeah, competition is ruthless. He's trying to destroy them when they line up against each other. That's sports. But real hate, real animosity, that's not there. Business and entertainment get mixed together, and people forget the difference. Kyrie also called out how the media and fans label the Brooklyn era a failure without looking at the full picture. Injuries, wrecked playoff runs. KD's toe on the line changed the entire championship timeline. Kyrie's personal struggles affected his availability. Harden made a business move and left. All of that matters, but people want the easy storyline. Superteam failed. Everyone choked. Kyrie's crazy. KD's soft. Reality isn't that simple. It's messy, it's human, and it's uncomfortable. The saddest part is what could have been. When all three played together, they went 13-3. That's a 79 win pace over a full season, historically dominant. The talent was real. Health and stability just never showed up when it mattered most. KD's foot being an inch further back. Kyrie not dealing with family issues that season. That alone could have meant championships. 2, maybe 3 titles weren't crazy to imagine. And if that reached its ceiling, not because of talent, but because life got in the way. Organizations have problems. People are human. They deal with things way bigger than basketball. And sometimes, no matter how stacked you are, circumstances just don't line up. At the end of his reaction, Kyrie Irving said one day they'll all sit down together, maybe for a documentary, and tell the full story. Not the headlines, not the hot takes, but the real context, the humanity, the emotions behind every decision that got made. Because this was never just about basketball. It was about people trying to do something special while carrying pressure most fans never have to deal with. That's the real lesson from the Brooklyn Nets Big Three. Talent isn't enough. You need stability. You need health. You need everyone in the organization moving in the same direction. And you need players built to handle the brightest lights in the biggest markets. Even then, life still happens. People struggle, organizations mess up, timing falls apart, and sometimes dreams die before they ever get a real chance to become reality. So the next time someone calls Kyrie crazy or says the Brooklyn era was a complete disaster, remember this story. Remember the coach who admitted he had doubts about coaching his own star player? This should be remembered. The assistant coach who walked straight to a division rival should be remembered. The mental health battles and family issues happening behind the scenes should be remembered. The 13-3 record, when they were all healthy, should be remembered. KD's toe on the line should be remembered. These aren't characters in a TV show. Kyrie Irving and the rest were human beings trying to do something incredibly hard, while the whole world judged every move. What happened in Brooklyn is way more complicated than people want to admit. If you appreciate real context, real stories, and unfiltered NBA truth, like the video, subscribe, and share it with someone who still thinks this story was simple.